What's up, guys? Welcome to the Thirst Lounge YouTube channel. My name is Priestley. Some of you might know me from my personal channel, Poker Priest. I'm a former accountant who quit his job, packed up all his belongings with a bankroll, a life roll, moved across the country to Las Vegas to grind cash games, and I've been doing that I started about 2 years ago. So I've been playing poker full-time for the last 2 years. About 6 months of that time, I've been down in the Virgin Islands playing poker for Thirst Lounge, streaming poker online on Party Poker and ACR. And I want to talk to you guys about one of the most asked questions that I get on my DMs, on Instagram, and on YouTube. It's, Priestley, what do I need for a bankroll? What's a good bankroll? I'm playing 1-2. What kind of bankroll should I have? I get this question so many times. So I wanted to put something together and address it to all of you. But I'm here to tell you that there's no one-size-fits-all answer for all of you that's going to work. Everyone has a different situation. Some of you might be working full-time. Some of you might have a family. Some people might be bachelors or bachelorettes that have no responsibilities other than themselves, and that all comes into play. So first of all, why do we need a bankroll, guys? Basically, the bankroll that you have for poker is the money that you're managing in order to play the game. So without a bankroll, without money, you can't play the game of poker. It's important to have a bankroll so you don't go bust. Like, you don't want to have a $500 bankroll and buy into a $400 game, because if you lose or you end up getting into a flip situation and losing, you're only left with $100. So with bankroll management, it's basically setting yourself up with a system where you're managing the risks involved with the variance in poker, because everyone who's played poker will get into a situation where you're all in pre-flop with pocket aces and you're up against pocket kings, or even pocket tens for that matter, and you're gonna still lose 1 out of 5 times. There will be different bankroll requirements depending on what type of poker player you want to be. So you want to ask yourself, what type of poker player are you? Are you a full-time player that's relying on poker income exclusively? Or are you a poker player who has income coming in from, say, a main job or a main source of income or other side income, which I would totally recommend. You should have multiple streams of income so you're not relying solely on one. And obviously, if you have other money coming in, you can take more risks within your bankroll. You don't need as many buy-ins. And if you're playing full-time and you need poker income exclusively, you're going to need a bigger bankroll to support yourself. Another important question to ask yourself is, how good of a poker player are you? Because no amount of bankroll management is going to help you if you're consistently losing. You need to be real with yourself with this one. Figure out what your win rate is. If you're a winning player but your game tends to be vary a lot, you're going to need a bigger bankroll. Another thing that I highly recommend that you do is keep 2 separate bankrolls. One bankroll for all your life roll expenses. That goes rent, car payments, phone payments, food. You should have 6 to 12 months of a life roll saved up just in case something goes wrong with your source of income, whether it's poker or your full-time job. You can get laid off, you can go through a bad run in poker and not have money coming in. You should have 6 to 12 months of savings saved up so you don't have to worry about where's my next paycheck coming in? When am I going to actually start running better? You need to have that separate life roll saved up for that cushioning for your day-to-day life, and then your separate bankroll for poker that you use only to play poker so that you're able to buy into games and still play the game of poker. Okay, so we have established that there's different types of people and different bankroll requirements depending on what kind of poker player you are. So I'm going to give a general guideline for people that want to play poker full-time, or people that are taking poker seriously and want to move up the ranks and not go bust on the amount of poker they've set aside for poker. So if you are a recreational player starting off at 1-2 no limit, people are like, how much poker bankroll do I need? If you're following these bankroll management tips that I have, or what a lot of people recommend online, if you look up bankroll management, they're going to say you need 20 buy-ins, you're going to need 100 buy-ins. Let's say you start off with 20 buy-ins. If you're a 1-2 poker player, recreational, a lot of people aren't going to have that 20 buy-ins to start off playing poker. So like that recreational player that wants to get started, they're like, I have to save 20 buy-ins, which is $6,000 just to play the game of poker. That's not going to apply to them. But if you want to take the game seriously, and if you're trying to move up the ranks, and if you're trying to play full-time, these are going to be my recommendations for bankroll management. Okay, so for a 1-2 no limit full-time player, I'm going to recommend 50 buy-ins. It sounds like a lot, but 50 buy-ins will assure that you never go broke. Not necessarily never go broke, but it'll give you a really nice cushion of a 50 buy-in downswing. So I hear a recommendation a lot is that you should have 20 buy-ins. And if you have 20 buy-ins, it means you're only buying into the poker game for 5% of your bankroll. But I've been playing poker for many years. There's not many nights where you go into a poker room and you're only buying in one time. You might get into situations, you get stacked, lose flips. You're going to be buying in for multiple times in a night, 2 times, 3 times, even 4 times in a night. So if you're using that 5% rule and you buy in 4 times, 20% of your bankroll can get wiped out in one night. So I like the 50 buy-in rule. You're buying in for 2% at a time. If you lose 3 buy-ins, you're out 6%. If you lose 4 buy-ins, you're out 8% in the night. And I think that's a good cushion for you to have. As you're moving up the ranks, let's say you're now a 2-5 no limit poker player. So in Las Vegas, you can buy into the Bellagio 2-5 game for $500. You can buy into the Aria 2-5 game for a max of $1,000. The win is $1,500. I think if you're transitioning from a 1-2 poker player, you can go into a $500 max buy-in game, and that would be the Bellagio 2-5 game, or it would be the Win 1-3 no limit game, which is a $500 cap. They both have different nuances in their game. You can mess around with playing at the Win at 1-3 500 max, or the Bellagio 2-5 500 max. I prefer to play the Bellagio 2-5 500 cap. But for that game, you're going to want to have 50 buy-ins for the 2-5 game, 500 max. So what does that mean? You're going to need $25,000 to comfortably be rolled for the 2-5 game at the Bellagio. So this is what's recommended. I recommend you have 50 buy-ins, but at an absolute minimum, you probably want to have 20 buy-ins to start taking shots at that level to get to 50. Okay, so now you're comfortably rolled at 1-2 no limit. You have 50 buy-ins and $15,000. You can start to take shots at, say, 2-5 at the Bellagio. In order to be comfortably rolled, I think, for the 2-5 game, you're going to want $25,000. So you can start mixing in 2-5 into your regular routine. Keep playing 1-2, mix in a little 2-5, mix in a little 1-3 at the Win, and hopefully you're going to see your bankroll starting to go up at a higher rate. You're playing at bigger stakes. But also you can go in the other direction, and if you start going more in the other direction, stick at the levels that you're beating at the 1-2 games until you start beating the 2-5 games. Another thing you're going to want to do, something that you're going to have to ask yourself as you're going through the different stakes and you're seeing fluctuations, check your ego. You've been playing the 2-5 game at Aria for $1,000 buy-ins and you're starting to lose a lot. Don't stay at that level. You're just going to be exponentially losing $1,000 at a time. Go down in stakes. It's very important that you go down in stakes when you're going through downswings. Otherwise, you're going to go bust. You don't want to go play bigger when you're losing bigger. You'll just start losing bigger. So check your ego. Don't have entitlement. Like, I've been a 2-5 player. I'm not playing 1-2 no limit. There's plenty of money to be made playing 1-2 no limit, and there's no shame in it. Move down in stakes if you need to. I think this goes without saying, but I need to say it anyways. Never buy into a poker game with more than you're willing to lose. If you need money to pay rent and you're using your last few $100s to buy into a poker game and you're trying to spin it up, don't do that. Don't buy into a poker game if it's going to negatively affect your life in some manner if you end up losing. The money that you're buying in with, you're gonna be thinking about it. You won't be able to make the right decisions because you're thinking, oh, if I lose this money, I'm not gonna be able to buy food. I'm not gonna be able to pay rent. So you're not gonna play your game in the best way possible. Okay guys, the final thoughts that I have on bankroll management. It is always better to be more conservative with your bankroll management than it is to be aggressive. Be really strict with your bankroll management rules. Set realistic expectations. Set aside money for your expenses. Plan those out accordingly. Move down in stakes when you need to. Don't be stubborn and stay at these high stakes when you don't have enough buy-ins for it. So guys, I hope you liked this video. Comment down below what your bankroll requirements are. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'll try to answer everybody in the comments. And guys, hope you guys subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button on this video, and we'll catch you on the next episode.